One, and we are live.
Yes. Sumit, you're there? Should I start, Vasu?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll start. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening to each one of you, and welcome to the webinar organized by FitStart. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce you to this topic of emotional fitness from reaction to response. Today, I'm going to take you through an amazing journey where you will come to know more about your own self so that you start operating from a space of response and not from a space of reaction. Whenever you're faced with any challenging situations, like now we are facing the pandemic, or you're surrounded by demanding people around you. Before we begin, I would keep my video on the off modes because we are working from the home network. So the network needs to support us. And I also request you all to keep your video and audio on the off mode. I welcome each one of you to this live webinar, those who are there on YouTube as well as those who are there here. Now, I know this particular topic is a subjective topic. So if there are any questions in between, I request you to type in the chat box. I'm keeping one of my eye on the chat box. Even if you feel my audibility is getting disturbed in between, please let me know in the chat box so that the flow is retained. And I will take each and every question towards the end. I am sure this particular topic, whatever questions are there, it will be unfolded as we move ahead with the session. And also after the session, when you will start experiencing situations in life where emotional fitness strategies, which I'm going to share to you as we move towards the end, will help you in retain your thinking capabilities and take desired actions in your life. Can we go to the next slide, Vasu? Thank you. Now, my intention or purpose why I'm going to spend this next 60 minutes with you is because I want to add value to each one of you by simplifying the concept of emotional fitness, because somewhere it is connected to physical fitness in terms of creating self-awareness about where you stand right now at this particular moment with regards to emotional fitness. Like we go to gym, we check our weight. Like that, we are going to do an evaluation where you will come to know where you stand with regards to emotional fitness. And then I am going to give you action focus by means of 3 strategies so that you can implement them in your day-to-day life and make emotional fitness a way of your life. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. So what is your intention for being here today? Are you dealing at present with lots of changes going on within you and around you? Like, future placements, jobs, examinations, career, business. Or are you looking to develop greater emotional fitness so that you can flow through the tough times? Or are you motivated to be a better student, a better leader, a better son, daughter, husband, wife, or a better person that is a better version of your own self? Or are you a learner and you're open to new experiences and opportunities for learning? I want you to reach to the chat box and type in the chat box what makes you come here. What is the reason? Tell me one of the prominent reasons out of these 4. Why are you here? Can we reach the chat box and do that? Your best reason for you being here for next 1 hour? Can I get some answers? Why are you here? For some of you, all this four can be the reason. You know, you want to deal with the present challenges, you want to develop your emotional fitness, you want to be a better version of your own self. So what brings you here? Can I get some? Wow, okay, great. Thank you, Rishika, Vasu. Great. To find, okay, thank you, Rishika, for answering. So, and it can be also all the four things, not an issue. It will be perfectly fine if you say, okay, I'm here because of all the four things. But you know, some purpose or some reason is essential so that the 60 minutes will be fruitful for you. Okay? Can we go to the next slide? Seeing the answers coming is great. Okay. So, who am I? I can modestly say that I'm in a good position to lead this session today because of the credentials attached. Yes, I'm an internationally certified HYL workshop leader and life coach. I'm also an EI and NLP practitioner. I'm also certified in positive psychology and social psychology. But the major intention of why I am, why you can trust in me is because I have a purpose in my life to facilitate individuals who are stuck with lower self-esteem and empower them with self-esteem optimization strategies which will initiate the changes, which will give action focus. And that is the major reason why I am here today, full of energy, talking with you. Go to the next slide. So you are in safe hands, do not worry. So let's begin with understanding what is emotional fitness. When this word emotional fitness comes, what are the descriptions which come in your mind? Can I get some answers in the chat box? When I say emotional fitness, what comes in your mind? According to you, what is emotional fitness? Can I get some answers in the chat box as I share with you what is emotional fitness? Thank you, Prasad, Suraj, for sharing your intention for being here. I'm audible to you all perfectly, right? My audibility is perfect, right? Can I get a yes or a no? I'm audible to each one of you perfectly. Great, 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 great. So, emotional fitness is your ability or your stamina to withstand challenging situation or chaos which is there around you. It is the inner strength and resourcefulness which enables you to transit from a state of fear, guilt, anxiety to a state of resourcefulness. This is the perfect time which is required to build emotional fitness. We will quickly do one exercise so that you will understand better what is emotional fitness. As you can see the lady in the picture, I want you all to do one thing for me, that is stretch your hand this way. The way I'm stretching, can you see? Just stretch your hands this way and stretch it to the limit which you can stretch. Okay. Now, as you stretch your hand, after a particular period of time, you will feel pain in the joint. This happens if you do not have emotional fitness, or better known as flexibility to bounce back whenever you go into a state of disabling emotions like anger, fear, anxiety. If you do not come back, this state of anger, fear, anxiety, which many of us are right now because of the pandemic, will have an impact on our physical body, on our professional as well as our personal life. Because too much of anger, fear, and sadness or resentment decreases our emotional fitness. So, if we exercise and if we eat too much of junk food, it nullifies the exercise. Likewise, too much of being in a disabling state like anger, fear, or anxiety reduces our emotional fitness. Am I clear? Can I get clear in the chat box, please? Can I get clear? Thank you, PKV creators. Thank you, Sada, for that answers. Great. Thank you, Vasu, for writing clear. Perfect. So, can we go to the next slide? Great. So, emotional fitness does not mean denying, suppressing, or expressing your emotions in an unproductive manner. Unproductive manner means either hurting yourself or hurting the opposite person. Okay. Emotional fitness means expression of emotions in a productive outlet for benefit of you as well as others around you. Emotional fitness does not mean denying, suppressing, that I do not like. For example, at present we are in a state of crisis. We need to be realistic and understand that yes, it is perfectly normal to feel guilty, to feel fearful, to feel anger. Okay. But then denying it, suppressing it, or expressing it in an unproductive manner is not required. We need to express the emotions with a productive outlet, and that is what I'm going to take you through. How do you express it in a productive outlet? The purpose is so that you retain your thinking capabilities and you develop an action plan. Okay. And give your best in implementing the action plan, and then you need to make peace with the results. Because now in the pandemic scenario, you cannot have perfect results. You need to keep on having trial and error methods, and emotional fitness will enable you to have these trial and error methods, so that whatever are the results, you will make peace with it and move ahead. Does it make sense? Can I get SENSE sense in the chat box if you are with me and it is making sense? Thank you, Samiksha, Akansha, Vasu, Sadav for being with me. Thank you, Purnima, for being with me. Yes, it is making sense. Great. Let's move to the next slide. So, now in the pandemic situation, we have two options. One is we can become victim of the scenario which we are facing, and we can feel that this particular scenario is bigger than the actual scenario, and we can fill ourselves with disabling emotions which will stop action taking mechanism or our thought process. Or we can deal with the situation and we can bounce back, being more resourceful, being more stronger. Okay. By keeping our mission in mind, like Peter Drucker, he's an Austrian born American management consultant, educator, and author of beautiful books like The Effective Executive, Managing Oneself. He says the main mission in any kind of challenging scenario is to make a positive difference. In this particular pandemic situation, do not care about being right or being smart. We are here to make some positive difference by being in a positive emotional state, by at least being emotionally fit, because that is what is in our hand, and that will automatically cultivate and enable us to take step towards our personal and professional success. We cannot take steps which are in the right directions if we keep on becoming victim of our own thinking traps. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to these thinking traps today so that you become aware of it, you deal with it, and then you bring in emotional fitness into your life. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to understand the thinking trap? Can I get a ready in the chat box? Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you, Ruturaj. Thank you, Sadav, Samiksha, for being here with us on YouTube. It's great to see your comments coming in. Thank you, Feroz. Thank you, Rishika. Thank you, Vasu, for that ready. This shows that you're connected with me. Great. So let's go to the next part. So now I'm going to give you a bonus gift in this particular session. I am going to make you understand where do you stand on the scale of emotional fitness. Okay. So what we are going to do, take a notepad and a pen in your hand. Take a notepad and a pen in your hand, and whatever answers or scores you're going to write, you're going to write in the notepad and in the notepad. You're not going to type in the chat box. Okay, am I clear? You're going to take a notepad and a pen in your hand and write the score in the notepad. You're not going to write it in the chat box. So once you're ready with the notepad and the pen, write ready in the chat box so that we begin with this emotional fitness scale. So I'm going to tell you where do you stand at present with regards to emotional fitness. I'm going to tell you where do you stand with regards to emotional fitness. I'm going to share 8 statements with you. These statements represent your self-talk or the mental dialogue or the thoughts which you have when you're faced with a challenging scenario. So if the statement resembles very much like your self-talk, you're going to give yourself a score of 2. If the statement somewhat resembles to your self-talk, you're going to give yourself a score of 1. And if the statement does not resemble like the self-talk which you have with your own self, you're going to give yourself a score of 0. Are you ready with the notepad and the pen? Excellent. Thank you, Mrinal. Thank you, Akansha. Thank you, Prasad. Thank you, Sonali, for writing that ready. Great. So let's move ahead. Vasu, the next slide. Okay. Now the first statement. Okay. So once you're done with every statement, write the number of the statement. Okay. Don't write your score. The score is completely confidential. Be honest with your own self. Okay. The score is going to stay with you. It is completely confidential. Yeah. So the first statement is, I don't give up when odds are against me. So if you believe that this statement perfectly resembles your self-talk, give yourself a score of 2. If it is somewhat like you, give yourself a score of 1. And if it is not your self-talk, give yourself a score of 0. And you are going to write 1 once this particular statement is over in the chat box. Just mention 1. Thank you, Sushant, Abhinav, for being so interactive. Thank you, Sachin, Suresh. Great. Thank you, Harshada. So are you done with the first statement? Can I get 1 in the chat box? As you're done, move to the second statement and follow the same process. I know how to relax during tense times. So if you feel it is like your mental talk, give yourself a score of 2. If you feel it is somewhat like you, give yourself a score of 1. And if you feel no, it is not like me, give yourself a score of 0. And once you're done, write 2 in the chat box. That second statement is done. Then move to the third statement. I don't worry about bad luck. I focus on what I can control. Apply the same scoring mechanism. And once you're done with the third statement, write 3 in the chat box. Likewise, move to the fourth statement. I let mistakes go and focus on what next. So you need to have a score of total 4 statements in your notepad. Once you're done with the second statement, write 2. Thank you, Ankita, Rishabh, Akansha, Prasad, for your comments. So once you're done with the second statement, write 2. Thank you, Jaishankar, Sancheta Pal, Sadap, Pratiksha, Ria. Once you're done with the third statement, write 3. So I know that you're progressing with me. Thank you, Abhinav, Pooja, Sonali. Once you're done, thank you, Samiksha. Once you're done with the third statement, write 3 in the chat box. And once you're done with the fourth, write 4 so that we move to the next slide. And don't worry, I will share with Vasu these statements. So if you lag behind, do not worry, you will get these statements. I'll share it with Vasu and he'll mail it to you. So can we move to the next slide, Vasu? Thank you. Use the same scoring pattern. Now the fifth statement is, I bounce back quickly from setbacks and failures. I bounce back quickly from setbacks and failures. So use the same scoring pattern, okay? If you feel the statement resembles you perfectly, give yourself a score of 2. If you feel the statement somewhat resembles you, give yourself a score of 1. If you feel the statement is not like you, give yourself a score of 0. Same scoring pattern. Move to the 6th statement. Do the same with the 7th statement. I don't give up easily. And with the 8th statement, I generally look at the brighter side of life. And as you're done, write the number of statement. That is 5th is done, 6th is done. Your score will be in your chat box. Okay, please remember. Your score will be in your chat box. Thank you, Mohit, Manoj, Mrinal, for joining us out here. Your score will be in your notepad. Only the number of statement will be here. And as you're done with all the 8 statements, what you're going to do next is, as you're done with all the, thank you Sushant, Akansha, Priyanka, Purnima. So as you're done with all the 8 statements, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to score up. And your score need to become, that is from statement number 1 to statement number 8, whatever score you're given yourself, you're going to sum up the score. Your score will be between 0 to 18. So once you're done with scoring, write done in the chat box. So I will reveal what the score means. Once you're done with scoring, write done in the chat box. I will reveal what the score means. So you will come to know where are you on the scale of emotional fitness at present. This is just a self-assessment, okay? Nothing right and wrong about the scores. There is always a scope of improvement. So once you're done, write done in the chat box. Thank you, Firoz, Tejal. Once you're done, write DONE done in the chat box so that I can reveal what score means. You need to score out all these statements, sum it up. And once you're done, write done in the chat box. Great. So Sonali, Jai Shankar, all 8 done. Your scoring is done. So now I'll reveal what the score means. Okay. Now I will reveal what the score means. So if you have scored between 0 to 8. Can we go to the next slide, Vasu? Yes, thank you. If you have scored between 0 to 8, it means you're surviving. Surviving is your inner strength somewhere gets depleted when you're faced with a challenging situation, and it makes it difficult for you to cope with the stressors around you. Okay. So you please be very, very alert when I'm discussing the thinking traps and the strategies with you. They are going to help you to come out of this zone of surviving and move towards growing and evolving. If your score is between 9 to 13, you are growing, which means you're moving towards your emotional fitness. You can deal with the situations and the stressors around you in a better way. But if the stressor is too big, then you give up sometimes, It's like when you're on a diet and you suddenly see a chocolate ice cream and you give up like that. When a stressor is too big, you give up. If your score is between 9 to 13, but it's perfectly normal, not an issue. And if you're scoring between 14 to 16, which means you have a high level of emotional fitness and you know how to bounce back quickly whenever you're faced with challenges. You know how to bounce back quickly. Okay. Now do not worry if you are on the scoring of 0 to 8, because I was also on a score of 3. And slowly and steadily, by practicing emotional fitness strategies, now I have come up to the score between 14 to 16. So it's perfectly normal accepting whatever score you are at and then growing ahead and then evolving from the score is important. So was it interesting to know where you stand? Can I get interesting in the chat box if it was interesting? Can I get interesting in the chat box if it is interesting to know? Thank you, Rishika. Thank you, Vasu. Thank you, Mohit and Tanay, for writing and being here with us, active on the chat box. Yeah, so let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now, emotional fitness is essential as physical fitness. And in true sense, emotional fitness also activates you towards physical fitness. Tomorrow again we are going to have a session of 5 at 5 o'clock by another speaker who is going to talk about physical fitness, you know. So emotional fitness is equivalent to physical fitness. It is like you have to go to gym is for everybody, right? Gym is also for people who need to lose weight. Gym is also for people who want to maintain weight and also for people who want to gain weight. Likewise, emotional fitness is for everyone, even if you're surviving, even if you're growing, or even if you're evolving. Emotional fitness is essential for each one of us. Now, like you go to gym, you cannot tell your trainer to do exercises for you and then you will get the muscles, right? You have to be dedicated and disciplined. Likewise, in emotional fitness, you cannot say that situations around me need to be normal, or you cannot say that people around me need to behave properly, so I will get emotional fitness. No. Your dedication and your discipline is required so that you will be emotionally fit. And last but not the least, whatever interaction I'm going to have with you in another 30 minutes, and whatever interaction I was having with you for prior 30 minutes, this total 60 minutes account for 30% of initiating the spark of emotional fitness within you. The real work happens afterwards. What you do in the 23 hours, that is 70% of emotional fitness depends on what you do after this webinar. You know, like you go to gym, 30% importance is for the exercise which you do, but your gym instructor also tells you about post workout nourishment, that is your diet. 70% depends upon how do you maintain your diet also. So that is what is emotional fitness also about. I'm going to share strategies with you today, but how you apply these strategies in your real life when you face the challenging situations will make all the difference. Can I get a wow in the chat box if you had a realization? Can I get a wow in the chat box? WOW, wow. If there was some realization today. Thank you, Rishika, Vasu, Kunal, for that wow. Great. Okay. So please remember, after this 60 minutes, what you do matters the most. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So one thing that we need to evolve in life is understand that our thoughts govern our emotional fitness and our action. So we need to be mindful of our thoughts, especially the thinking traps, which I'm going to share in another few minutes with you. Pay utmost attention to this particular part, okay? Because they might limit somewhere our emotional fitness. The thinking traps. Next slide. So for evolving, being mindful of these thinking traps is essential. These thinking traps are the disabling negative mental chatter or self-talk which we have with our own self. Now also, when you're listening to me, many of you are also thinking about certain thoughts which are coming in your mind. Now, if these thoughts, you know, it is said that in a day there is 86,000. Okay. In a day there are 86,400 seconds. And out of these, if you remove the number of seconds when you're sleeping, nearly 70,000 seconds are there. And per second, one thought. So you're thinking more than 70,000 thoughts in a day. And according to research, around 70 to 73% of these thoughts are negative. And if your thoughts are negative, you might be engaged into a thinking trap, which might come in the way of your productive emotions and your resultant actions. These thinking traps can sometimes undercut your decision taking abilities. They might undercut your successful relationships in life. Because if you are into a negative thinking trap, you will attract situations and people around you which will match the frequency of what you talk according to field of potentiality. And this is proved by researchers like Martin Seligman, Dr. Beck, Dr. Burns, Dr. Karen, Daniel Goleman. Many researchers are proving this. And so you need to be aware of the thinking traps. Yes? Can we go to the next slide? Till now, are you with me? Write that you're with me. Can I get with me in the chat box? WM. Just write WM in the chat box. So I'll know you're with me and then we'll go ahead. WM in the chat box. Excellent. Thank you, Kunal, Vasu, Prajakta, Manoj for being super active. Okay. So 3 thinking traps I'm going to share with you quickly, and then I'm going to go towards the 3 strategies and we'll end today's session. So the first trap is me, where you're blaming yourself. The second trap is them, where you're blaming others. And the third trap is catastrophizing. So can we go to the next slide? Okay. In the me trap, what happens is, in this particular me trap, especially if you're falling under the scoring of surviving, pay attention. Do you do this sometimes to yourself? You believe you're the sole cause. Remember the word which I have highlighted, SOLE. You believe you're the sole cause of every setback and problem in your life. You probably are also believing that because you're the sole cause, you're causing lot of harms to people around you. So you are seeing yourself through a lens that every setback, every problem is my fault. So that mental talk which you have with yourself is, I feel so guilty and disappointed with myself as I'm binge watching entire day. I just want to shut myself away from everybody and everything. I am not smart enough to be here. I cannot work from home. I cannot concentrate. I would have saved money for future. I would have realized that something this serious was going to happen in my life. Are you understanding? And you keep on over experiencing guilt and sadness. Okay. And what happens is this takes away energy from you, and people around you also start blaming you because you're blaming yourself, and then it becomes a chain reaction and it becomes a reality. It becomes a reality, and more guilt and more sadness happens in your life. So I want you all to tell me that, do you often fall into this particular thinking trap? And in what circumstances do you fall? Right? Agree if you agree with me. Even I sometimes fall into me trap. But from now onwards, we need to be aware. Agree. Thank you, Vasu. Thank you, Shamali. Thank you, Nishant. So let's go on to the next slide. So now onwards, we will be aware that this is a trap. This is an illusion. Okay. The next is the them trap. Now in them trap, what happens is, here this is the flip side of the me trap. So in me trap, you believe that you are the sole responsibility. In them trap, you believe people around you, situations around you are the responsible. Responsibility for whatever is happening in your life. So your mental chatter is, this person drains my energy. With a friend or with a family member like him, no wonder I'm upset. So it is like blaming other people. It is like blaming the entire world, blaming politics, blaming circumstances, blaming government, blaming other countries, everything for the problems that you are confronting. Okay, so what happens out here is, you wait and you wait for something outside to change so that you will change. That is them trap. But nothing outside changes, and then you get filled with anger and aggression. So them trap may you become like a machine, and you want somebody else to switch on and switch off. Like a tube light or a fan, we operate it. So you believe somebody else outside will operate me, and then I will get balanced, and then I will initiate action focus. But God has given you your button in your own mind, and we forget it. That is what is them trap. So in them trap, again, I want you to think how often and in what circumstances, especially now in pandemic when we are at home and actually we are facing crisis. It is but obvious that we will fall into this them trap, and because of that, entire world will move ahead. But if we stay stuck with the them trap, we will stay behind. Do you agree? Can I get an agree in the chat box? Thank you, Manas, Prajakta, Virendra, Priyanka, Abhinav, Sagar for being active. Okay, so everybody falls in this trap. The problem is not the them trap. The problem is being aware and then coming out. That is what the strategies will help you. Can I go to the next slide? Now, catastrophizing, another common trap. This is one of the highest percentage of trap into which we fall, where we waste our critical energy which God has gifted us, ruminating about one particular negative incident, which is a constant thing which has happened. But then we keep on talking about that again and again and again and again and keep on becoming prey and victim to that particular incident. Okay, and we are not mindful in the event which is happening. So, for example, suppose if your boss, your friend, or your family member said something which hurt you. Now that already you are vulnerable because you are at home and many things are, unpredictable, you might end up remembering all the past events where your friend or your family member have hurt you. Then you remember all other people who have hurt you, and then you get into a state of anxiety. Even your head might start paining, and then you say, I tried to do something but I could not focus. You want somebody else to change, come and say sorry to you, come and make peace with you. You wait for somebody else to take action, and the effect of catastrophizing is it blocks you from actually taking the action. And you're also simultaneously underestimating the God's mechanism of coping, which is already installed within you. You underestimate the power which is lying within you only. So, some of you also notice while I'm talking with you, I know a movie might be running in your mind about, last week, maybe the prior week, you might have catastrophized. Nothing wrong about catastrophizing, but becoming aware and taking it under control is important. Yes? So, write R if you have realized. Write R if you have realized that yes, I do fall into me trap, them trap, and catastrophizing. Write R in the chat box if you have realized. Can I get R in the chat box? Thank you, Tejal, Ropesh, Suvid, Samiksha, Karuna for being super active. Seeing your messages in the chat box makes me feel that you're just sitting in front of me with a cup of coffee and we are interacting one to one. It's lovely to see you all being so active on the chat box. This gives me multiple energy. Great. So can we move to the next slide? Okay. So now I have a quick quiz for you, okay? You will write M if this particular sentence belongs to me trap. If you believe the sentence belong to them trap, you will write T, and if you believe the sentence belongs to catastrophizing trap, you will write C. So I know that you have understood whatever we were discussing till now. Okay. So first sentence is I have poor technical skills. Which is this trap? First sentence is I have poor technical skills. Which is this trap? Write M if it is okay. Perfect. This is the me trap. Now, second, others always take advantage. Others always take advantage of me, which is then this trap. Which is this? Perfect. Rishika, Kunal, perfect. Nishant, Vasu, perfect. This is the them trap. People cannot be trusted. What is this? People cannot be trusted. What is this trap? People cannot be trusted. Which is this trap? People cannot be trusted. Life is hard. What is this trap? People cannot be trusted is them. Perfect. Life is hard. Life is hard. Situation around me is them trap. Excellent. 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 Yes, Rishika, you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly right. The next sentence. My friend insulted me. My parents always insult me. Life is hard as them trap. Okay, life is hard. Blaming life, blaming the situation. But my friend insulted me. My parents also insulted me. Everyone around me insulted me. That is what is catastrophizing. Perfect. Last sentence. I have a very bad future. What is this trap? Great Suvid Satab, right? I have a very bad future. Which is this trap? Can I get some answer? Last sentence. Right? Last sentence? Yes. Perfect. Kunal, Vasu, Rishika, perfect. That is the me trap. So this gives me a clarity that you have understood. So now onwards, even if the thoughts are coming, let them come. But be aware what kind of trap am I falling into, and then use the strategies. Now I'm going to share with you certain action strategies where you can deal with this trap. So can we go to the next slide for the strategies? Yes, before we go to the strategies, this was a research which I did on my coaching clients and on my training participants who took my entire session on emotional fitness. And I found out that more than 80% replied that thinking traps do have an impact on their mind, emotions, and body, and do affect the action focus. Okay, so this is also proved by experiential research that thinking traps do have an impact. If you are not controlling the thinking traps properly or not being aware of the thinking traps properly, it does have an impact on your mind, emotions, and your body. Okay, so we are moving to the strategies. Are you excited to know the strategies? Can I get excited in the chat box? Thank you, Nikita, Sadaf, Kavya for being super active, Akansha. Can I get excited? Yes, great, great. Thank you, Rishika. Thank you, Prateek, for writing excited. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now, these strategies you will be using whenever an adversity strikes. Okay. Now, these skills will enable you to evolve whenever a stressor comes in your life, and it will give you energy to get back to the A game, which you are already meant to play. Starting to get in, whenever any negative situation is starting to get in your way of handling the situation effectively, you are going to challenge yourself with the strategies which I'm sharing with you. It is like, playing a mental judo. So initially you will find it difficult. You will have to do it consciously, but afterwards it will become a way of your life. Do not worry. Afterwards it will become a way of your life. So let's go to the 3 strategies. Can we go to the next slide? So move ahead with the strategies. So the first strategy is named as clarity of what is X and what is Y in your life. The second strategy is empowering words. The third strategy is contingency plan. Let's go to the next slide. Now, clarity of X and Y. Pay utmost attention here, okay? Because this will simplify many things in your life. Because this simplified things in my life, and how I could evolve from a score of 3 to a score of 14 to 16 was because of this strategy. You need to be very, very clear about this equation that X plus Y is equal to life. Okay. X plus Y is equal to your entire life. X, like in mathematics, is a constant which cannot be changed in our life. Like we have pi in mathematics, like we have, Pythagoras theorem in mathematics, like that X are certain constant things in our life which cannot be which cannot be changed. And if you pay attention on this constant, it will lead to stress in your life. Now, these constants include something like your height. You cannot change it after a particular age. People around you and what they think about you, you cannot change it. You cannot keep on thinking what people are thinking about you, because whatever even if you try to solve this, what people think about me, you'll never get the answer. It will just keep on increasing stress in your life. Another important thing is, which you cannot change, is the situation around. Challenges will keep on coming, in our life. Now we are facing pandemic. Earlier we were facing work life balance. So many things will keep on coming. They are the way of life. If you want to go and achieve something, if you want to evolve in life, you need to climb the mountains. So that is going to be a constant. Okay, outside challenges are going to be there. So you need to shift your focus on why, which is the variable in your life. Why is something which you can take in control. You need to focus your attention on why, so that you become more goal oriented and action focused. Like, you cannot control height, but you can control your weight. You cannot control people around and what they think about you, but you can control your thoughts and emotions. You can control your self-esteem and how you think about people. Possible hai. You cannot control outside challenges, but you can increase your emotional fitness to deal with outside challenges. Can I get a yes in the chat box? Can I get a yes in the chat box if you are with me? Thank you, Devendra, Rishika, Pratik. Okay. So you need to be very, very clear about this X and Y in your life. X are certain constant things which are going to be there. People around you, outside challenges, going to be there. Your height, you cannot change. But there are certain things which are in your control, especially now in pandemic situation. I keep on telling to my coaching clients and my training participants, the only thing in your control is your thoughts, your emotions, your belief systems, and the way you act. Okay, I'll give you a very, very interesting example out here. Imagine a golfer. Okay, now this golfer is playing for a country club championship. As he plays his shot, he sees that a ball hits something. Okay, he plays his shot perfectly. He's a champion. He's giving all his energy to play the perfect shot. But the ball hits something, and this something is a soft drink can which somebody else has thrown on the ground. And his shot is missed. In this instant, he played his perfect shot. So I know you were planning your career perfectly, you had your goals in your life, but this corona is something which is a crisis. It is like this soft drink can which came in between. So now, next time while playing the shot again, the golfer can fall into a thinking trap. Why don't people throw cans in the garbage bin? That is the X, which is not in the control of the golfer. Or he can focus on why, that is, he can focus on his emotions, thoughts, stabilize them, and again give the best shot with all the resources without being attached to the outcome. Okay, in Gita it is always said, never be attached to outcome because it messes with your chances of success. Do your duty, do your best. You didn't create this crisis. You didn't throw that soft drink can on the golf field. What is in your control is hit the shot again in front of you with all the energy. Focus on emotional fitness and physical fitness, which are the variables in your hand. Do not focus on COVID-19. Even in this particular situation, you will empower your life. You will take in your life in your hand and move ahead. Making sense? Can I get sense in the chat box? Can I get S in the chat box if this is making sense? Yes? Excellent. Thank you, Rishika. Thank you, Nishan. Thank you, Prateek. So this is the first strategy in your life. Be very clear of what is X and what is Y. Then start focusing on why in your life. Start focusing on your variables. Your variables are your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, which will give you the ability to bounce back whenever any challenge comes in your life. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Here, another important strategy. This is the second strategy, empowering words. Okay, Whenever you feel that a thinking trap is coming in your mind, pull on the optimism by using a sentence starter with a more helpful way of seeing the situation or a better way of seeing the situation, and then fill the sentence with empowering words, with positive statements. I am going to give you an example. Can we go to the next slide with an example? Now, in pandemic situation, many a times we may have a thought, I have to be in control, of whatever is going all times. Not possible. You can instead use an empowering statement, empowering sentence for your own growth and evolvement, that I trust my inner wisdom to guide me. I trust life. I let go of past, surrender concerns about the future, and openly receive the experience of the present moment, and I am ready to evolve. The energy of I have to be in control at all times versus the energy of I trust the process of life, which is the high energy. Write E if you believe that the second statement is the high energy. Write E if you believe that the second statement is the high energy. Can I get E in the chat box? Thank you, Vasu. Thank you, Devendra, Akansha, Priyanka, for being continuously active on the chat box. Yes? So, am I making sense? Okay, can we go to the next slide? Now, also one more thought might be coming, and we might be framing it into this word. Life is hard. This is again a disempowering statement. Instead, if you operate from a statement that life is easy, life supports me, all my experiences add richness to my life is filled with purpose, meaning, and passion, it will give you energy, focus, and it will enable you to move from one place to another and take certain actions. Okay, this is what is the second strategy, being aware of what you talk. This simple change of thought and simple change of using empowering words will bring a commendable change in your life and action focus. This is proved by many researchers like Dr. Sonja, Dr. Raj Raghunathan, Daniel Goleman, and many more. Your words have energy field, and they create emotions and thoughts in your body automatically. So if you want to be surrounded by a positive energy field and take action and move with the world and progress and evolve, and if you're coming in the zone of 0 to 8, and if you find that you're surviving, check what vocabulary you're using, write it down, and consciously shift it to a positive vocabulary. Consciously shift it to a positive vocabulary. Right, got it? If you have got the second strategy. Right, got it. Right, got it? If you have got the second strategy. Thank you, Nishant, Kritika. Let's move to the last strategy and end the webinar. Let's move to the last strategy. Last strategy is one of my favorite, contingency plan. So whenever you feel, especially when you're catastrophizing, when one negative thought comes, and that one thought, one ideal thought is not a problem, but that thought converts into a puddle, then a pond, then an ocean. And if it's a negative thought, you might drawn into the ocean of the negativity. But if it is a positive thought, that you can float on the positive ocean and take action, focus, and move ahead. So if you feel the negative thoughts are coming, use contingency plan. Breathe, relax, allow that anxiety to subside, and say to yourself, if A happens, I will B. Like I told, in pandemic situation, we have to keep on having trial and error. We have to do what is best for us and then make peace with the results, try another method and go ahead. The person who stops doing trial and error will stop succeeding in the pandemic situation. So if A happens, I am ready with my B. That is, suppose college organizations are closed down. What can I do then? I can value add to my skills by taking certain certifications. Like now, many of the SME owners will be in need of content writers, will be in need of people who are good with editing videos, will be in need of digital marketers. They will be in need of financial analysts. So you can take certifications in these areas and help SME owners. You can perceive your hobby and convert that hobby into a passion and your pay. You can search for online assignments. You can do it for free right now, establish trust, and then you can start charging for it. You can read books connected to personal and professional growth. And you will be able to do these all things if you believe that if A happens, that is okay, things are closed down, I am at home, what can I do the best so that I will be active and not a parasite? I will be active. Okay, can I get active in the chat box if this particular strategy is clear? Contingency plan is to keep you active. Can I get active? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thanks for being connected. Okay, so these were the three strategies. One was if being very clear about X and Y's in your life. Second was understanding that empowering words matter. And third was contingency plan. Can we go to the last slide? Next slide, please. Summary of the session. We started with what is emotional fitness. It is your ability to bounce back whenever you are facing demanding people or challenging situation with more power, with more love, and with more wisdom, with more resources, with more energy. Second is we became aware of our thinking traps, me, them, and catastrophizing. Me is when I'm blaming myself, them is when I'm blaming others, and catastrophizing when I'm thinking one particular negative thought and I'm ruminating this thought again and again and again and again. I'm making a small thing into a big thing, a big illusion, and then that becomes a reality for me. And I understood the three strategies, okay, to deal with the thinking traps. So that is what we did, and we also understood where we fall with regards to emotional fitness. That also we got a clarity. Yeah. So this was the summary part. Can we go to the next slide? So I'll conclude with an analogy which I like a lot when it comes to emotional fitness. Emotional fitness is like a boxing match, You do not lose when you fall down. You lose when you do not bounce back. When you're into a boxing match, you do not lose when you fall down. People who are emotionally fit also fall down. Okay, they also get disturbed. They also feel emotionally, they are also emotionally vulnerable. The only thing is they bounce back with awareness and they bounce back with more strength, more energy. This is what emotional fitness does to you, and this is what emotional fitness represents. Okay, so can we go to the last slide? Next slide. Please remember the major takeaway is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Can anybody guess what is this A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Can anybody guess what is this A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Any guesses? What can this A, B, C, D, E, F, G be? The takeaway of today's entire webinar, where you all were so active. Can anybody guess? This A, B, C, D, E, F, G means anybody can do emotional fitness gym. A, B, C, D, E, F, G means anybody can do emotional fitness gym. Only your awareness and respect of your emotions is essential. Only your awareness and respect for the emotions is essential. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G is anybody can do emotional fitness gym by incorporating the strategies. You can initiate the story of emotional fitness in your life. Okay. Can I get great in the chat box? Can I get great in the chat box? Anybody can do emotional fitness gym. Excellent. Thank you, Rishika, Nishant, Prateek. Let's move to the next slide. So I request you all to give me feedback on this particular webinar. Vasu will be sharing with you in the mail as well as in the chat box this particular feedback link. Your feedback matters a lot. It will not take more than 5 minutes for the feedback. You know, this feedback matters a lot for the research work which I'm doing and for my intention. Was this webinar effective or not? That your feedback matters a lot, because I'll come to know whether the webinar was effective and whether the 60 minutes which we had together made any difference, whether the objective was met. So please give this feedback to us. Last slide, please, Vasu. Yes. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel. I'm also an anchor. I have my own podcast. If you want more updates connected to self-esteem and emotional fitness, you can stay connected to me on this all medias. And thank you, Kalyani, Priyanka, Kritika. And now we are open for questions if you have any. We are open for questions. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being active. Thanks for being interactive with us throughout this. I thank Vasu. I thank FitStart. I thank Pratik, Neeru, Nishant, Kunal, each one of you for giving this opportunity to me. I thank Sumit Naik, the FitStart owner, for giving this opportunity of interacting with amazing people like you all. Hope the session was effective. So if we have any questions, we can take them.
Ma'am,
Yes?
as always, the session was very interesting and enriching. Uh, I have one question to ask.
Yes?
Like, uh, like I was practicing the journey of being having controlling the constant variables and trying not to focus on them, and to try to develop a good attitude towards them and try to focus on the better part. So
Okay.
while doing that things, one situation is like, in current scenarios, many of the people are losing their hopes and losing their self control over them, so
Yes.
they're getting towards negativity more often. So I wanted to ask, as a friend or as my friends, how do I help them to get out of that zone, or how can I help them to help themselves get out of that zone?
Okay. Okay. So, whenever, it's first and foremost, whenever, people come to you and whenever they tell that they are into this zone of negativity at present, acknowledge that it is normal. Okay, acknowledge that being in this particular zone, because we are surrounded with crisis, it is everybody is into the zone of zone of uncertainty, zone of crisis. Future is not clear for anybody. So acknowledge and respect that yes, this is the fact, this is happening. But then you can ask them a question, that what can we do, what is in our hand. And if we keep on being in the zone of negativity, if we keep on being in that zone where the negative thoughts are coming, what will happen? So you can first and foremost tell them to jot down all those thoughts, jot down all the emotions which are coming up, and then you can handle one by one the emotions or the thoughts which are coming, and ask them, like I gave you the strategy of empowering words, ask them what needs to be changed. Because sometimes, I'll just give you an example. Suppose if fear is one of the emotion which is coming out, okay, many of the people, even my coaching clients, are sharing with me, fear is one of the emotion. Fear is because of lack of trust, and lack of trust is because of lack of skills. So these people need to understand that if they are only in the zone of fear, they will actually stay back. That is a reality. Instead, if they trust this process and trust whatever is happening, and then slowly and steadily start equipping themselves with the added certifications or qualifications, come out and do something, do some trial and error with whatever resources and talent they have. Irrespective of attaching with the success, slowly and steadily they'll come out of the zone of fear and start in the zone of start coming in the zone of trust and taking small steps. Are you understanding? So the first thing, if you want to help somebody, please tell them to jot down whatever thoughts and emotions are coming. Take the emotion and then you understand how do they need to work with that particular emotion. Because every emotion is telling you something. Like I said, aggression or anger, if they are operating from this emotion, it means they want somebody else to do something for them. Am I clear, Vasu? Are you understanding where I'm getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Making sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so they need to jot it down. They need to jot down what they are feeling, because staying in the zone of whatever they are thinking will become a reality. They need to be, they need to understand this, that if they stay, what will happen? That is the first question I generally ask to my coaching clients, that if they stay in that zone, what good is going to happen? Okay, because again, I'm telling one more thing, Vasu. In this particular thing, you will act as a facilitator, okay? You cannot make the change for them. Like I said, X and Y. So Y is your thoughts and your emotions need to be giving them unconditional acceptance and support, but with not attaching even yourself to the results or the outcomes coming from them. Am I clear? Because that might again come and interfere with your goal achievements also. So you need to be very clear. You will give them a space of listening. You will give them a space of unconditional acceptance. And the strategy is tell them to jot down whatever emotions and whatever thoughts they are having. Ask them what will happen if they stay with it. And then ask them what steps they need to take so that they need to come out of it, with some suggestions which can be given from your side. Yes? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Yes. Anybody else has any questions? And many times in this particular situation, even if you provide a listening ear, even if you listen to people around you, when they're talking, sometimes they get answers. Only problem is nobody in this particular time is ready to listen to each other. So even if you have that emotional fitness level between 14 to 60, you can provide a listening ear at least. And the best technique is self-journaling, writing down whatever you're feeling. I do that every morning. I write down whatever I'm feeling. Even if I'm feeling happy, I write. Even if I'm feeling fear, anger, guilt, I'm writing. And then I ask, why am I feeling it and what can I do to convert it? To operate from a zone of action focus. Understand which trap it is and operate from a zone of action focus. Any more
Ma'am,
questions? Yes?
there is a question from YouTube, Sancheta Pal.
Yeah.
How to cope up from the fear of rejection?
Fear of rejection. Okay. Sancheta, the best way to cope up with the fear of rejection is accepting your own self unconditionally. Okay. When we fear rejection from other people, we need to ask ourselves, are we rejecting some part of us? Many a times, fear of rejection from other people becomes a question mark from us, because fear, acceptance and rejection from other people is your ex. Okay? Acceptance and rejection from other people is your ex. Everybody around you might not accept you wholeheartedly, because everybody around you is operating from their own level of awareness. Everybody around you is operating from their own level of intelligence. Okay, so and now everybody is in the zone of crisis. So instead of having a fear of rejection from people around you, you can provide them with unconditional acceptance, and that can start when you accept yourself unconditionally. So I have a question for you. If there is a fear of rejection, please ask yourself, are you rejecting some part, some decisions, some qualities of your own? Okay, because self-esteem, like I said, self-esteem is basically you yourself valuing your worth, you yourself valuing you know your value, you yourself valuing whatever strengths you have and whatever areas of improvement is there. So when you operate from a lower self-esteem, sometimes you have a fear of rejection. It comes when you are rejecting a part of your own self. So write in a journal, and if you want, you can connect to me on LinkedIn and we can talk one to one also. uh, you know just ask yourself, are you rejecting some part of yourself because of which you want acceptance from somebody else? Start accepting your own self unconditionally. Am I clear? Am I making sense, Sanchita? Am I making sense, Sanchita? Can I get a yes or a no? Because concentrate on your why. Accept yourself unconditionally. Because different people around you will operate from different levels. Sancheta, are you there? Welcome, Rishika. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a insightful information.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Sancheta?
Yes, Sancheta's doubt was cleared, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions?
No, ma'am. We can conclude the session. So, on behalf of FitStart, I really thank you, ma'am, Dr. Kasturi Naik. I really thank you for an inspiring session and helping us to move towards our better mental fitness and emotional fitness. So, I also thank each and every FitStart team for making this a successful grand event. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vasu and Neeru, Pratik, Nishant, Kunal, and all the participants for being here. And once again, thank you, FitStart, for giving this particular opportunity. It was a great pleasure interacting with all the participants. And once more, a reminder, please fill the feedback form. Take care, stay protected. Thank you.